Wells Fargo and Company is an American international banking and financial services company headquartered in San Francisco, California. They have 8,600 locations, owning 13,000 ATM machines. The bank also operates online and has apps that are available on mobile devices. The company was founded in 1852 and was named after the founders Henry Wells and William Fargo. The horses on their logo emphasises one of their mottos, "Together we'll go far," which symbolises what they aim to do, which is to satisfy their customers' financial security needs. It is apparent that incentives offered to employees for signing up customers to additional banking services led to a conflict of interest, resulting in fraud. This fraudulent activity went on uncovered by internal audit and the board of directors for 5 years. The main reason for the failure of corporate governance and professional ethics in this case is due to appropriate controls either not being in place at Wells Fargo or working efficiently. The main controls which arguably should have been in place are management and board overview, risk management, and internal and external audit. Significant blame is placed on KPMG as the auditor of Wells Fargo during the period where accounts were fraudulently created. This was because none of KPMG's audit reports identified any concerns with the illegal behaviour.
Due to the relatively recent nature of the Wells Fargo fiasco, the resulting consequences are still in process. Those that have already been implemented are notably severe in their nature. For example, on the 8th of September 2016, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau fined the bank $100 million, the LA City Attorney $50 million, and the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency fined it $35 million, a total of $185 million. In response to this backlash, Wells Fargo stated that since 2011, it had fired 5,300 employees. The bank then faced its first lawsuit from customers in relation to the scandal, when 3 individuals from Utah filed a class action lawsuit on the 19th of September. Plaintiffs were seeking class action status on behalf of up to 1 million people affected. The crosshairs of vengeance were then focused on CEO John Stumpf when he appeared before the Senate Banking Committee for questioning. Bob Corker stated that it would be a malpractice if the bank did not claw back money paid to executives during the period of the scandal. Following Stumpf's grilling by the Senate, on the 27th September, the bank's independent directors announced that Stumpf would forego $41 million worth of promised compensation as well as his salary as they launched an independent investigation. The Senate also slammed Wells Fargo for its use of forced arbitration clauses in its customer account agreements, which they say enabled the company to keep the scandal out of the public eye for years.
There has not been a single cause of how they got caught. Rather, it was a gradual process where they cheated many customers over several years. According to the New York Times, bank employees have been encouraged to open these accounts due to the compensation policies that rewarded them for getting new business. Employees felt under great pressure to increase the number of accounts at the bank. The bank's sales incentives and high-pressure work cultures left the workers with no choice but to either do their job and get fired or lie and maintain a steady income. Wells Fargo will have to pay $100 million to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's Civil Penalty Fund, which is the largest fine issued by the Bureau to date. Wells Fargo have to provide a refund to all the affected customers. These refunds are expected to total at least $2.5 million. Customers do not need to action to receive this amount, it will be provided automatically. A large factor of success in the banking industry is the level of confidence the customer has in the bank, and this has rapidly decreased for Wells Fargo since sanctions began in September 2016. A study has found that although only 3% of the customers asked were directly affected by the scandal, 14% said they had already switched over to using another bank, and 30% said they're actively exploring other options. This could lead to a loss of up to $4 billion for the firm. Therefore, it should be a priority for the bank to ensure that they are taking the necessary steps to limit the number of customers lost in order to continue to grow as it has done in previous years. Of the employees that were fired relating to the scandal, as many as 65 of them filed whistleblower complaints to the Department of Labor's Occupational Health and Safety Administration. Internally, Wells Fargo will need to address the culture that was created by the incentives given to employees and the lack of controls in place to prevent this from happening. The bank is described as having a pressure cooker sales environment, with testimonies being circulated of employees who were made to work overtime if they did not meet their sales targets, without being remunerated for the extra hours worked. This high-stakes environment created the pressure, which in conjunction with the lack of controls in place to prevent staff from opening unauthorised accounts, created an opportunity. The only element of the fraud triangle, therefore, that was missing was rationalisation. As seen by the number of whistleblowers, it is evident that not all employees were willing to participate in the fraud, so this may suggest that Wells Fargo had some element of control over their employees still. However, the fact that around 2 million false accounts and credit cards were opened shows that the fraud triangle was in effect during this time.